Hey guys, today I'm here at the Goodwill on Grand Avenue to source some pieces that I can use for my next upcycling project. So come on, join me. Hey y'all, so we are picking up where we left off in the live video. So for those of you who haven't seen the live or don't want to go through the 60 minutes, I'm actually going to try to make chapters in there so that you all will be able to just skip to the parts that you want to see. But let me show you some of what we got so far. I haven't decided firmly on any of these yet. So for one, we found this suit, this men's suit. It's navy blue. I tried the jacket on during the video and it looks great. So I like to have a nice base that I can start with and then build from there. This is the piece that I'm thinking about will go nicely with this. It's a dusty blue and it's a plaid. So I think these two will go nice together. So this is the first choice. Then we have this blazer, this one that I'm just not really firm on. I don't really like it that much. And this one looks like something that I already have at home. But the plus side of this is that it is super oversized, so I can really cut into it. I want something that is gonna have, I think this one is a no. I want something that's gonna give me a little bit of contrast, but also a little bit of interest. We're gonna go back over to the men's suit section, by the way. And then I also found this skirt that has this scalloped edge lace on it, which I also think would be so nice to like add to a jacket. We also have a green jacket around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this jacket really is a nice fit. And I thought that on there would be pretty fantastic. For the spring, I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always thinking outside of the seasons. But I think these two are a winner. Okay, let's finish looking at the men's blazers. If I have to go over to the store on Washington, I will. I'm not opposed to that. This is what I mean by interesting fabric. See how it's got like that little flecks of color in there? I like that. I was looking for a full-on suit, but and this black pinstripe one. Joseph A. Bank, $12 for both. Let's see. What I like about this is the lining color, because the pants aren't lined though, and the price is good on here. So I think this would be a nice suit. Ooh. I'm not gonna get this jacket, but I just thought I like that idea. It could have gone somewhere. This looks very similar to this. That's close. Not quite, but we're gonna keep that one over there too. All right, you know, I also want to do one of those plaid skirts. I think I'm biting off a little bit more than I can chew right now. I think we should just stick to the blazer upcycle and see what we come up with. Okay. All right, I think we have finally made a decision. I think I am gonna get this suit since it's only 12 bucks. And that kind of stays within my price range. So I think we're gonna stick with that. I think we're gonna pass on this one, although, yeah, I think we're gonna pass on this one. All right, and then we grabbed these pants, but didn't have a top to go with it, so we'll put those back. Why do I like this? Nope. I love the texture in here. I like this. I think these two could be good. This one is a no-go. This and this, not quite the same. As I'm thinking about the upcycle and what it's gonna look like, the fabrics have to be like the same weight, and these will go together pretty good. And then these have pants, so that's good. We're on the fence about that one. I'm gonna put that one over there. All right, you guys, so we've landed on this suit. So I think this is what I'm gonna go with for now. It's a really nice Joseph A. Banks suit. I like the way it's tailored, so this will work. This is what I'm going for. This is exactly what I'm going for. These are perfect. I'm grabbing these. My size too. $6.99. Yep, we're getting these. So anyway, I'm looking for a tie right now because they didn't have good ties at the last store. That's really interesting. It's so ugly that it's cute. And these ties over here are very reasonably priced. They're only $2. I need to get that one just because. Let's see if that's leather or not. Nope, that is not. That's faux leather, but it is a nice jacket. Okay. I was kind of liking this jacket. I felt like I could definitely do an upcycle, but I don't know what's going on with the collar. I don't really like that. This would be darn near perfect if it wasn't. Could I make this work since it is so big? Could I make my own collar out of it? Could I cut it? Cut the collar off and replace it? Y'all know I'm tempted, right? Because this is a little light. Okay, so here's the jacket. I like it, but I don't love it. I love it. I feel like this is a richer, you know what I can do? I can cut that collar off. I can use the bottom part of the shirt and I can create bigger, like more pronounced collar. I'm gonna drop this off at the dry cleaners on my way home. Okay, you guys, I think that's what we're gonna do. Hey y'all. All right, so we are leaving the second store and headed home. I found a couple more things here I went a little bit over budget, but I'm also factoring in that I'm working on another project. So if I subtract that out, then I stay within my $50 budget, which is good. So we're gonna go home now and try to work on this project. If my ADD doesn't get in the way and I end up getting distracted working on something else. So first thing I'm doing is laying these pants out and determining where I'm going to cut them off at. Now the key is to leave the maximum amount at the bottom so that you can use that to make the bottom of the skirt. At first, I was gonna make kind of like a V shape and do pleats down each side. And then I thought, you know what? That is gonna give me so much of a headache, and I only have a few days to get this done because I already spent 2 days working on another project that I didn't even need to do. That just shows you where my mind is. So I had to try the pants on to see where I should cut. And I realized the closer I cut to the crotch and the closer I cut to the pocket would leave me with a good amount left at the bottom of the pants to use. And the shape would be perfect for laying the pleats. So I ended up drawing my line just below the pocket, just below the crotch. I almost cut into the pockets, so be careful. Make sure you move your pockets out of the way if you're gonna do this. I decided to do it on an angle because I definitely wanted this kind of high-low effect. I wanted it high on one side, low on the other. I knew that. Now, for this part here in the crotch area, I did this exactly the way I did the denim skirt upcycle. I'm gonna pop a photo in of the thumbnail for that video. You can go back and watch that video. It is my most watched video on YouTube where I upcycled the denim skirt. Anyway, that's how we do the middle crotch area. You just clip it, overlap it, and stitch it down. No different from the way you would do a pair of jeans, but you got to make sure you clip it enough so that it lays flat. You don't want it buckling in there. All right, so I did that, pinned that, and then cut the excess off. I also had to do the same thing in the back. You're going to cut and overlay and pin. Really, really important. Get this out of the way so that you're not trying to do it when you get to the sewing machine, because there's nothing worse than trying to fix things that you could have done on a flatter surface. If you try to do it at the sewing machine, you're going to end up with the other pieces of fabric getting in the way. It just becomes a headache and yada, 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 all that. All right, I recently ordered some sewing supplies off Amazon. I will link these pins below if they end up being good pins. You know, all pins are not great. So let's see. After I cut this, I started thinking about how I wanted this to look. I definitely wanted it to have kind of a distressed feeling. Like I didn't want it to just be a regular skirt. Yeah, so I started kind of playing around with the fabric. I wanted this to be a little asymmetric. I cut it on an angle. I really want to show this serged edge here on top, and I want to do something like that. Like I want it to be kind of, I thought about creating a flounce, but that still also seems very regular to me. This is the longer end, so I think I should put this piece down here, and I kind of want to make pleats. I think that's what I'm feeling. I think I want to do pleats. Y'all know I really like pleats. So maybe we'll just pleat it. And then I need to see how short this is. These pants were really well made. They had a lining on the inside. All right, I was concerned that I wasn't gonna have enough to go around, but I ended up having just the right amount. Actually, it was perfect after I folded the pleats, you'll see at the end. So we've got I took the pants legs, I took them apart at the seams, and I'm just gonna take this over to the ironing board and press this nice and flat. Press out the creases and the hem, press all of that out. I'm gonna press that. Let's see, did we take this hem out? Yep, that hem is out. You take this one out, you just gotta do this one. I think once I get this pressed out, I think I'm gonna start this way. I think I'm gonna start from here and start to fold and pin and fold and pin and fold and pin and fold and pin. Okay, so that I can get that pleated effect here. Then, since I don't mind this being uneven, we're gonna then, we pleat there, we're gonna start the new set of pleats here. So that means this edge will be not distressed because it does have a sealed off edge with the serging, but we're gonna keep overlapping this. I'm not even gonna attach these. I was thinking about attaching, I'm just gonna let this hang. I really want a very unfinished look to this. All right, so let's go press this and then we'll be back. So I already know that I want to remove the sleeves. I'm probably gonna take the shoulder pad out as well to give you all a little bit of a close-up. I know this is the lazy way. All right, one sleeve done. I am gonna use this. I'm not sure how, but we're gonna use it. So we are gonna go in first. So now I'm on the fence about the shoulder pad. And there's a part of me that almost wants to keep it. If I do, we'll turn in the lining, we'll turn in the top. I think I'm gonna test it. I think I'm gonna pin it and see how I feel about it. Well, how I ended up feeling about it was that that shoulder pad needed to go. Absolutely. So I'm just showing you this portion here, how I'm folding in the fabric and also folding in the lining and matching it up and pinning it so that I can sew around it, because that's generally what you're gonna do. But I did take the shoulder pad out. It didn't look right. You all can see I am folding the jacket. I like it. We're gonna belt it. I think we're gonna make our own belt. I'm gonna use the sleeves and one of these belt buckles that I've picked up in the last, like, I don't know how many years. All right, here I'm taking out the shoulder pad and usually it's sewn in one little tack, but sometimes some of these vintage blazers, they have a padding and then a shoulder pad. So definitely be on the lookout for that when you start to take a men's jacket apart. I'm headed over to the ironing board to start pinning my pleats, and I made them about 1 inch deep, maybe a 1/2 inch in some places, just to kind of take up a little extra fabric. You can do this any kind of way you want. So I've already created the pleats, and now we just need to sew down everything. So the first thing I'm gonna do is similarly to how when we made the denim skirt from jeans, we're gonna sew down this area here, this part first, and I'm just gonna top stitch. Now, if I was trying to make this clean, pristine, and I didn't want the kind of reworked look, then I would probably hand sew this and stitch it from the opposite side, but I don't mind the stitches. Fold that fabric back that way, move it out the way so that I can get in there. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm just doing an edge stitch. Edge stitch, not a top stitch. There's a difference. If you know, you know. And I'll come up to, so that part is down, you can barely even see it. And then we're gonna come up here to that area. I'm gonna do just a little bit of a back stitch, come back, And I'm gonna come right up to the zipper. There we go. Let's make sure I caught it all. I left my scissors in the other room. Be right back. All right, you guys, we are doing somewhat of close to the finish. So once I hand sew all the way around this armhole, we're then going to work on the belt, and then we're going to press. Now, I haven't decided if I want to press the pleats in and make them like semi-permanent. I haven't decided because I need to make a decision. I was thinking about letting the cleaners give it a good once over, but I think I can probably do it myself. Anyway, I will show you a close-up of how I am stitching this. This is a little tedious. Hopefully my light doesn't go out before we finish. Well, not before I finish, but before I'm done explaining to you what I'm doing. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Let's see. All right, we're gonna zoom in. All right, so on the inside, I have folded in the lining to match up with where I folded in the actual fabric. Match those up, put pins in there to keep those intact and together. And I'm basically going through and doing a slip stitch. I'm starting on the lining, then I'm catching the fabric. And the stitches are pretty close together, as you can see, but each one I'm going in. I would say I'm about maybe 1/4 inch away from each stitch. And I will go in and steam this afterwards so that the lining mostly stays to the inside. But you can see how that looks from the outside. I think it looks really good. This is all sewn here. You can see a little bit of the stitching, but when I press it, this will be nice and flat. So we're gonna do that all the way around. I'm going to maybe do this in time lapse for you. Hand sewing is an art. Slip stitching is an art. And you really have to take your time while you're sewing this because you don't want it to look homemade. When I'm pressing suits or delicate fabrics or materials that I know could possibly burn or shine, I always use a pressing cloth to press. So I used, since I don't have an official quote unquote pressing cloth, I use a piece of muslin and I lay that on top of the fabric, and then I use my iron and I steam those areas. So here I am going around the armhole and just pressing that area. And sometimes you might get a little cat face. You don't really want that. So you have to go back over it. And then as you can see, a little bit of the lining was sticking out. So I put that back in, push that lining in, and I made sure to kind of smooth it over so that that lining stays inside. I don't want it showing because at some point I'm going to wear this vest with different color shirts and tops, and I don't want the orange showing through. So even though the orange does match the orange shirt that I thrifted, that doesn't matter. I want it to be a nice clean finish, so I have options. All right, you guys, so the last piece that we have to work on is yes, I'm watching myself in the background. Yeah. Anyway, the last piece is the belt, and I want to use the leftover sleeves to create the belt. So this is my thought. My thought is we keep the buttons from the sleeve and we create the belt making it along the seam. Like I don't want it really wider than that. And I have these buckles that I've acquired. I think I have a really, really nice one somewhere, but these I got from the textile discount outlet. So I like the silver, but I think I like this more pewter looking one. Let's see. I want this to come out and I want it to come through. Y'all feeling me on this? When I pull it through the buckle, I want these buttons to be like that. I want a flat, but like I want that hanging off. Hey guys, all right, so my camera SD card filled up, and I had to keep moving. So I'm gonna show you what I started working on to create this belt. So remember we talked about using this buckle and the sleeve. So what I did was I turned the sleeve inside out and I basically stitched it in half to give me this much of a belt, okay? But remember, actually, I think the camera cut off before I could show you guys. So the plan was to have this portion, here, was to have this portion of the belt come through the buckle and kind of hang off to the side, which means I still need to get the rest of the belt. I don't want to use the other sleeve because I want to use that as a decorative part of the jacket. So I'm actually gonna take. So in order to do that, I ended up taking the other sleeve, folding it in half and stitching it. I used some buckram because the buckram is very stiff. You guys know I used it in one of my corsets. Will not do that again. But anyway, I cut the buckram to make sure it was the same size as how I had cut the sleeves to create this belt. And that way I won't have to worry about the belt bending or, looking like it's not firm and flat. So I put that on the inside and then I just ran a stitch down the middle of the belt so that the buckram could stay in place. I would recommend putting like some interfacing in there if you don't have buckram, something to keep it stiff on the inside. Otherwise, it's gonna look flimsy. Now, I wanted to also make sure that the belt that I created, at least the size, was going to fit through this buckle. Now, buckles, when you buy them, they have obviously an opening on both sides, and there is a prong that sticks out, and that is what allows you to be able to create the belt and provide the holes that the prong sticks through. So in order to have holes in there, I didn't want to necessarily use grommets. I used my sewing machine because my sewing machine can create those little bound holes, which I'm so happy that my machine can do that. So I had to practice this a couple times before it came out, and I finally got it right on the final bound hole. And I'm using the slow motion footage because the footage was so bad when I was trying to sew the bound hole, but it turned out really good. So I made 5 of these so that I could adjust the belt. All right, let's get dressed. I'm starting off in my new Christian Dior robe that I thrifted at Chelsea's Market in New York. You guys who have been around for a minute know that I track this vendor down so that I could get this beautiful robe. Anyway, enough on that. First up is the orange shirt. I found it at Goodwill in West Loop. It was a little big, so I tailored it down the center back and brought in the sides for a more perfect fit. Now, the star of the outfit, the drop waist skirt, I created from pants. These are the pleats I made from the pants leg, pressed, folded, sewn all the way around. I love how the structure gives a very nice feminine shape. Next is the vest. I removed the sleeves, hand stitched the armholes closed, and added a few vintage brooches for some personality. For accessories, I'm going with this brown and orange tie. It's not the prettiest tie on its own, but with the outfit, it works. Here's the belt that I made from the jacket sleeves, complete with bound openings for the buckle prong. It pulls the whole look together. Shoes with my chunky Steve Madden lace-ups, but I'm also going to try them on with these black boots that I think I thrifted them. I'm not sure. And I'm also going to bring in a hat for a little extra flair. And now let's take this outfit out. Here's the final look at the event. And yes, people loved it. All right, you guys, I will see you next week. And we got more upcycles coming your way. All right, you guys, see you later. Bye.